Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Jamie Cope with the University of Charleston's Downtown Innovation Hub, and excited to see everybody come out today. If you haven't heard Sam speak before, you're in for a real treat, and if you have, that's why you signed up and you're here. So excited to have everybody with us. Just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what's coming up here at the Downtown Innovation Hub, so that you can attend some of our other events if you're interested. So uh, tomorrow evening from 4 to 6, we've got a Fail Fest here at the Hub. Um, it's an opportunity to see some of the local business leaders talk about how their past failures have shaped who they are today. So it should be a lot of fun. Good time will be had by all. Then March 26th from noon to 1, we've got the lunchbox with film industry opportunities for small business. We've got Bob and Jeff Tennell plus Megan Smith from the West Virginia Film Office. Should be a great opportunity to learn about some of the great film stuff that's going on in our area. And then coming up on April the 23rd, we've got Two Views talking about the International Talent Pool. The registration isn't even live for that yet, but we're going to put all of this in the chat along with our link tree, which will give you an opportunity to look for all of our events. So, love to have you join us at any time. As far as this presentation goes, we're going to just kind of turn it over to Sam and let her run with it. And if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat, or we'll just maybe open it up at the end if anybody has questions to dig in with that as well. But again, we're excited to have you with us, Sam. So I'll just let you take it away.
Yay! Happy lunchtime, everyone. And thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Alyssa, for having me today. It's always a pleasure working with the UC Downtown Innovation Hub. If you haven't seen it, it's the really cool fishbowl looking building on the corner of Capitol Street. So hope you get a chance to pop in there for all those events that they have in the chat. But without further ado, I'll give you guys what you came here for. Um, can everyone see my screen all right? All right, yay. Thanks for the thumbs up. So today we'll be talking about showing up with intention, doing it on purpose. So we'll be going through this with the lens of personal branding, intentional gatherings, and how you can communicate that. Oops. All right, but first you might be wondering, okay, why are you talking to us about this? Who are you? Well, I'm Samantha Nygaard. You can call me Sam. And professionally, my day job is I'm the Appalachian Senior Program Manager at the National Parks Conservation Association, which, if you don't know, is the advocacy organization for our national parks. I'm very fortunate to be able to help be the voice for our parks, especially here in West Virginia and Central Appalachia. And when I'm not doing that, you might find me on the streets because I'll be helping coordinate community cleanups with the West Side Neighborhood Association, helping organize community cleanups here in one of the most diverse neighborhoods in West Virginia. Um, I also am really passionate about education and making sure that our future generations have what they need to be set up for success, especially here in Appalachia. I am exploring that through a fellowship with Teach for America. And also, again, I love garbage, I love art, I love riding my bike. So there's many different organizations that I do to help support that. So more on that later. And then also, I would be remiss. She would come in here and start barking if I didn't mention my dog, Georgia. So yeah, the theme for today's presentation is inspired by a quote by Dolly Parton. So if you have a favorite Dolly song, feel free to put it in the chat. I was definitely singing 9 to 5, preparing for this presentation, but something that she said really resonated with me, and that's figure out who you are and then do it on purpose. And really living this intentional life has been something that I reflect on, I journal on, and want to talk through that with you all today. So, a reflection question, you don't have to answer to everybody in the chat, but something you can just think about is how intentional do you feel about how you show up professionally? Maybe even personally. How are you showing up? And in some ways, how are you operating in autopilot mode in some cases? So just keep that in mind as we go through this presentation. Okay, so to our interactions. Whether you're in a meeting, in a Zoom call, on a phone call, walking on the street, whatever it may be, what you say and how you say it, what you do and what you ignore, those all signal to other people something about you. Us as humans are always looking for different stimuli that, indicate different things. So whether you're a threat or not a threat, that's what our brain is trying to decipher. So what are you communicating to others? Um, Everything you do is shaping how people experience you. And also, it's reinforcing that story you tell about yourself and who you are. So it's not just for other people, but it's about yourself. So the meat and potatoes of this is your personal brand. What is that? It's not just on social media. It's again, it's how you live your life, and how you present yourself to the rest of the world. It's also, want to stress this, that feeling people have about you. So again, back to all the things that I love to do. Your personal brand isn't about creating someone new. It's really about recognizing those things that make you special and make you unique. And for me, when I really wanted to sum up what it is about me, you can either find me hiking, biking, or picking up trash. So whether I'm actually hiking in a real national park or state park, or even, a little city park, Little Creek is one of my favorites. But also, I might be hiking on Capitol Hill, on the steps of Capitol Hill, to take folks to use their voice to advocate for causes they care about. And when I'm not doing that, you can find me on a bike or promoting bike advocacy and bike safety in our community. And when I am not doing that, I'm probably picking up trash. One of my favorite things is to leave this place a little bit better than we found it. So um, those are things that are traits of my personal brand. And I encourage you to think about you. And again, you don't have to reinvent yourself. You just have to find a different way to talk about the things that you like to do. So your personal brand isn't about showing up as, or your personal brand is about showing up as your truest self with intention. So are you shaping it yourself, or are you letting other people define it for you? Are you being intentional, or are you letting those opportunities pass you by? And then again, indicating you already have a personal brand. It's just whether or not you've defined it for yourself or not. A note on authenticity. Um, this is when your actions, your voice, your messaging reflect who you genuinely are and how people perceive you as credible and relatable, which helps build a strong and sustainable brand. Again, you don't want to have to reinvent yourself and be someone you're not, because you can only keep up with that for so long. Authenticity also draws like-minded folks to you. So they want to connect with you because they find things that are relatable because you're being your real self. And it's not just about what you offer to the world. Like, I'm more than just bikes, hikes, and trash. But that being said, but people want to do those things, or they see how happy I am when I'm doing that, and they want to do that with me. So it's something where we can, by being a true version of myself, others want to come alongside with me. Okay, again, continuing on authenticity, what it is and what it isn't, because sometimes in this digital world, especially with like the different ways that people can create new information, it's important to talk about what authenticity is and what it isn't when it comes to your personal brand. What it is, it's being honest about who you are and what you care about, but it's not oversharing personal details or emotions without boundaries. It's authenticity is showing up consistently, making sure that what you say online matches who you are in person. Um, you don't want those to be inconsistent. And then again, it's not something that's performative, being vulnerable just to get attention. You really genuinely mean it. Authenticity is owning your growth again, fail fest. Like that's a plug for fail fest. Um, owning your growth. Nobody is perfect, so failures happen, but just making sure that you're being aware of that. Um, Authenticity is also reflecting on your values and what you post, support, and celebrate, not just online, but in real life. And things that it's not copying someone else's tone to fit in. And also, don't use authenticity, don't weaponize it as an excuse to be careless or unprofessional. Just because you're like, that's who I am, that doesn't mean that you can be mean to other people, which is on my next note. We'll talk a little bit more later. Um, what's one example of someone you follow who feels authentic to you? And then what makes them feel authentic? Again, these are more prompts for you to just think about in your head. If you want to share with the rest of the group, feel free to put that in the chat. If you have a content creator or even just like a person that you admire, who lives their true life. But just think about that as you're on this reflection. Ooh, Michelle Obama, good one, becoming okay. Okay. Um, Again, a note on balancing this realness and professionalism when it comes to living authentically and intentionally. Um, just be kind and respectful, even when you disagree. We live in a really stressful timeline right now. So it's easy to get heated, and you want to make sure that you're saying things that you wouldn't regret, which is why avoid oversharing or posting when you're emotional. Pause and post with a clear mind. And that goes even when you're, really, really mad, really sad, you're not in a clear headspace. So you want to make sure that you're being clear so you don't have that regret after you've posted something. And then, and even if you delete a post, people still remember you posted it because screenshots exist, unfortunately. Um, and then also, that note about, I said earlier about like failure happens. Nobody's perfect. When you share your passions, purpose, and learning moments, if you post something that you do regret, maybe talk about it. Maybe say something. Or if you said something to someone that you regret, that's what genuine apologies are for. So making sure that you are taking the time to learn from your mistakes. Okay, one more thing, because I just really think in this world it's important to remember to be kind. And I saw this in a classroom during one of my Teach for America visits, and I know it was literally in an elementary school, but I just think it's important to remember that, think before you speak, write, or type. Is what you're saying true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? It's really important for folks to remember that like we're well, sometimes there's bots online, but like in real life there are people, and we want to make sure that we're treating our neighbors with respect and practicing that kindness wherever we go. So back to doing it with perfect purpose and sharing with intention. Um, your personal brand reflects these things that you care about. I talked about my hiking, biking, and picking up trash. What are the causes and projects, and maybe is it community work that you do that reflect your values? What are your authentic reflections or musings that you want to share with other people, whether it's in a book club or in a forum online? And then how are ways that you can support others, not just yourself, others that share the same values? How can you celebrate folks for what you genuinely admire about them? More self-reflection. Um, when you're thinking about your personal brand, whether you have one already developed and outlined in your head of like who you are, if you're in the process of articulating that, I really do think this is an important thing to journal about or write through in your process that works best for you, whether it's typing or making a word cloud or something. But really getting to the root of what is your why and why do you do the things that you do? Why do you wake up in the morning? What gets you excited? As you can tell, personal branding and having conversations like this light me up. So this is something that gets me excited. So what do you care most about? What do you want to be known for? A helpful prompt for me is what three words describe how I want people to feel after interacting with me, whether it's online or in person. And then when do you feel like you're most yourself? And sometimes that can go into looking at, what lights up your inner child or those things that made you happy back when you were a kid. Maybe that can help inspire you for your personal brand now as you're an adult. So, how can your values show up in what you post, comment on, or just create in the world, whether it's in your professional or personal life? So, call to action or authenticity, to bring it back to that, having those moments of self-discovery, I've probably called on 5 different ways you can journal. So if you need a journal, if that would be my gift to you, if I had you all in person, being intentional in that space, being unique, having that integrity, being unapologetic in a in a professional way, unless you're going to be mean, having an empowerment to yourself in that intention, and overall just be an active participant in your life because there's only one you. So being yourself, if you don't know who you are, if you're having one of those, I definitely have so many, whether it was been a um, midlife crisis in my 20s, what have you. If you don't know, figure it out. And who do you want to be in this world? There's only one you, so be sure you tell your story and no one else's. Again, making sure that you are being an active participant in your own life. Share what excites you and what you find interesting, and you never know who that attracts by just being yourself. And then also being intentional about how you show up because those trends come and go, but your values and what makes you you are forever. Like that's what people will remember. So you get a bonus because, like, let's put this together. So we have your personal brand, that's you, but let's talk about how this relates as you influence others. So this is about creating intentional experiences using your personal brand and into gatherings and the ways that we meet and engage with other people. So think of a recent meeting or interaction you've had and what made it feel worth your time. Or what made it feel draining and you're like, not gonna do that again, or like you're gonna dread every time that you have to go to that. Again, these are reflection questions. You can if you want to shade another meeting you've had, please feel free to put it in the chat if you feel so inclined. But every touch point that you have with someone teaches people how it feels to work with you. So, I mean, even I feel like these experiences, like I just met Jamie at Park Run, just bopping around with my friend Carrie as I don't even run at Park Run, I just walk. And from those experiences that I had with Jamie and like the deep conversations we have at post run Mia Cuppa led to opportunities like this one that we're having now. So really grateful for you never know what those types of connections you have by just, being intentional and being yourself. So these are some questions to consider. This is like the quick and dirty. If you want more on how to gather, one of my favorite books is by Priya Parker, The Art of Gathering. She also has really great TED Talks, so you can watch on that. But these are things when you're creating a meeting. So whether I'm creating like a town hall style discussion or even just a call with my parents sometimes if it's an intense call. These are some of the framework questions that I like to consider. So, why are we meeting? Who needs to be there? What outcome do we want? What experience do we want people to have? And what's one intentional design choice we can make? And that can be something as simple as like, oh, does this need to be a walking meeting? Or does this need to be a Zoom? Or does this need to be a phone call? Like those are different things that you can consider when you're thinking about why you meet. It's one thing to just be like, put it on my calendar. But if you're really being intentional about how you're spending time with each other, that can go a long way to get you what you want and make people feel inclined to make certain decisions that you want them to have. So, diving a little deeper, why are we meeting? Really diving into underlining what's the purpose of the call or gathering. It really needs to be clear and specific. And then emphasizing what do you want them to experience or feel when they leave. Really, the important thing is begin and end well. The opening moments set the tone for the whole presentation or meeting or gathering or whatever it is. And the closing ones, those closing moments seal the deal. And people will take either those calls of action or ways that they want to do whatever it was that you need them to do after the meeting. Also, be intentional about who's in the room. Maybe that means people you didn't think need to be there. If this is a brainstorming call, maybe be thinking outside of the box on that. Or maybe there's some people who don't need to be in the room. Like not everyone has to be in a space. So really taking account of who needs to be there and why they need to be there. Everyone has a role. And again, it's all connected. So your brand is how you are experienced, how people perceive you. And then those gatherings are how you create those experiences. Um, and so looking back to you all, we've spent some time reflecting, had so many journal prompts. What's one place that you'll try to be more intentional this week? It doesn't have to be like a physical place, like not like it could be Kroger, like maybe you're gonna come in with a really serious mindset for that. But what's where do you think you're operating in autopilot and you might need to be a little bit more intentional? Feel free to share in the chat or we can talk about it too afterwards. But just really think on that. Where can you improve on that intentionality? And back to the quote. So figure out who you are and do it on purpose. It's really all, again, it's all connected. You don't have to do more. You already have your own brand. You already are yourself right now in this moment. So you just have to, dive a little deeper and be more intentional about what you're already doing. Where are areas that you're doing the things you want to do, and where are the areas that actually you don't like those things? It doesn't have to be, maybe you're doing something you don't like doing and you need to be doing something else. Time to pivot. So even that is being intentional. I also studied urban planning in school in addition to psychology and communications. And one of my favorite concepts I learned in urban planning is like the concept of no decision is a decision. And that to me really, I think about that a lot is by, it's not even a no, it's just by having no decision is a decision in itself. And sometimes I need to remind myself that that's okay. So what are you going to be doing about that too? And that's really, I really wanted to spend time discussing with you all. So that's my presentation on being intentional. If you want to connect more, this is my information. But also, I'd love to chat more if people have questions um, about being intentional or exploring their personal brand.
All right. That was great, Sam. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, as she said, if you want to put questions in the chat or I mean, we've got a fairly small crew at about 15 or 16 of us here. So if you want to unmute and ask a question, we'll let you do that as well. Or maybe she just did such a good job that nobody has anything to say.
Harry
Oh,
Jones, and I know Sam, and I know you, Jamie. But do you find, I know Sam, being around you, I feel like your energy is contagious. Do you feel when you set like out in a meeting and you set these guidelines for yourself that other people, it is like a contagious thing that they say to you, oh, that was like, that's really helpful. Like I want to be intentional and be like that. Do you think do you see those results?
I do. Whether I'm in honestly, even on my like to reveal a little bit about my work, like even in my meetings on Capitol Hill, when I'm meeting with lawmakers, or even when I'm meeting with community members in my other work for the neighborhood association on the West Side, it's really by being this way, by being like intentional and open, it people feel the need to reciprocate because they're like, well, I'm gonna feel a little bad if I'm not matching her energy. So I do really feel like by having this demeanor. But also, this is who I am, so I actually can't turn it off. But inspiring others to do the same makes them feel. I think what it comes down to is people let me know. I've had it before where other folks have told me, like, I feel really safe talking to you and opening up. Or I was just taking young leaders on Capitol Hill, and one of the young leaders pulled me aside, and he's like, I've never talked like that in a meeting before, but because you were there to like show me the ropes and like show me how to like ask these questions, because it's intimidating when you're in like these big meeting rooms. And they told me, they're like, I felt really comfortable to be able to open up, and he's like, I'm not usually like that even at work. So thank you for recognizing that, Carrie. And yes, it showcases in other places in my work as well.
And I see that Bill Woodrum is unmuted. I'm sure he has a question for us.
Yeah. Sam, I just think like right now, your energy is always amazing, but like right now in the world that's basically on fire, literally and maybe physically, and definitely spiritually right now, like how do you keep that level of passion and that enthusiasm without, I think the other side of it is sometimes when you put out those good vibes, they're not returned. It's hard to keep generating that. I've always been impressed that you have a limitless supply of good vibes. So, but yeah, I just in the world, in the state it's in right now, with the polarization, the ugliness we see online and in the real world, just wondering where you go to for that well.
Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate the compliment and the question. But I agree with you. This has been, I feel like I say it all the time. I'm like, these times, like, I think I even acknowledged it in this call, like that is a really real thing. Even just preparing for this call, like I know that people are the most distracted that they've ever been, just because we're fighting for our needs, or there's, people are losing their jobs or don't have their jobs, and these are things that are really weigh on me all the time. And being aware of that. So I think the first thing is I remind myself that I don't know what other people are going through. Like I can know what they're going through, but I can never really know what they're physically or emotionally are going through. And that grace allows me it makes it easy for me to be as generous with my kindness, because I know this might be hard. If someone Honestly, I love when someone yells at me because I'm just like, tell me actually why. In my head, I'm like, they're going through it, because I just got in the room. Like, there's no reason for like someone to be upset with me. So I know that that's probably coming from a different place, or maybe I remind them of something that is going on at home, or maybe they're not even thinking about me at all. So I remember that it's not personal, because again, I don't really know what someone is ever going through. So that's my mental math that I go through. And the positivity, just I think I really reflect on the beauty that is humankind. I love human connection. I like bringing people together. That's why I love park runs so much. I love spaces like this. I like the events that I do with our neighborhood association. I like picking up trash because it's that community feel. And I think that's really, to me, the solution for everything is just spending time with other people. Humans are gregarious creatures, and we just need to like feed that part of our brains. And when we're by ourselves, we're robbing ourselves of that connection. So making spaces where people can feel connected, that really drives me. And honestly, that work is what makes me happy and keeps me fulfilled.
Nice. Anybody else? Oh, hey, Travis.
Hello. You must have an alert on there that when the mute goes off, it just like ding ding. Sam, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is had the joy of listening to you speak. Now this is the second time, and I really always get something out of it. So I just want to let you know I appreciate it. But I really liked your discussion on authenticity, because I think a lot of people get that wrong. And you made a comment like, well, this is just me, I can't turn it off. And I think that's what authenticity is, because like I I don't talk to, I don't come in and talk to Jamie and Alyssa maybe the same way that I talk to my friends in high school, right? It's a different conversation. But I think, my personality is the same, right? Like I'm the same person. Um, so I really just, love the fact I remember the last time I saw you speak, just got to speak to you a few minutes after you got off the stage, and yeah, it's the same person, right? It's not like you transformed. So I just say all of that to say that I think that was a really like eh, that's a really important part of your personal brand, because people would be really confused if you weren't the same person. So thank you for that, and again, just really enjoyed your presentation today.
Yay, thank you, Travis. I appreciate that. And I really, authenticity is like a core value for me. And I agree with you. I think it really is really important for your personal brand and just who we are as people. And I also understand that sometimes it's really scary to be yourself. It's really scary to be authentic. I mean, for some people, it's not. I might make it seem like it's easy, but actually, it's really scary to talk about myself even now. So it's just that practice. And that's what I mean is just like being in more spaces with when you're with other people, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And also on that same note, allowing yourself to create the space for others to be vulnerable too, because it's that human exchange is what's really important and what can build closer connections and bonds.
That's great. Do we have any other comments before we call it quits for the day? All right. Well, thank you again, Sam. This has been just fantastic as always, and we're looking forward to working with you a lot in the future. And those events that are coming up are in the chat, so definitely if you want to join us here at the Downtown Innovation Hub, you're always welcome.